morning. Let me tell you how I first got interested in politics. I was excited about the 2008 presidential election and the possibility of our country having its first black president. It was kind of like a football game. First the Democrats would make a move, then the Republicans would make a move of their own. It was a lot of hype. This health care reform has turned out to be quite a political football game. Ben Bernanke, chairman of the Federal Reserve, states, improving the performance of our healthcare system is without a doubt one of the most important challenges that our nation faces. Because of the volume of information we are receiving on healthcare reform, there may be some difficulty getting a clear view on the issues. Today, I will bring you clarity on healthcare reform. First, I'll talk about some of the perspectives. Next, I'll take a look at some of the options on the table. And finally, I'll discuss some of the ways to pay for health reform that's being proposed. First, let's take a look at a couple of perspectives. Here's a conservative view. National debt and government growth has united the Republican Party and fostered the formation of an alliance called the Tea Party Patriots. The Tea Party Patriots marched to the doorstep of the Capitol. Congressional Representative Tom Price, speaking at the rally, stated, "You will not spend the money of our children and our grandchildren to feed an overstuffed government." An article in the National Review states, "What Americans need is better choices, better prices, and security of coverage through an open market that is competitive." Let's take a look at the liberal view. We have the ability to provide quality care for all Americans. Commonwealth Fund President Karen Davis, who co-authored a report that states Americans will be spending $1 out of $5 on health care by 2020. She also states we are in the midst of an economic crisis and things will only get worse if we do nothing. We have a choice of paths that can provide access to everyone, reduce costs, and improve the quality of care. According to the USA Today, healthcare costs are rising and unsustainable. The average cost for a family for health care in 2009 was $13,375. Here's a quick look at some numbers. A recent Time magazine poll states that 86% of Americans who have insurance are satisfied with their coverage. 62% of Americans believe final health care legislation will raise their health care costs. And 56% believe that it'll give them less freedom to choose their doctor or their coverage. And finally, 65% of Americans believe that health care legislation will make everything more difficult. The total U.S. health care expenditure in 2007 was $2.241 trillion. Additionally, there are some options on the table. Recently, the public option has been resurrected in the television ads, although the latest bill on the Senate Finance Committee floor, dubbed the Baucus bill, excludes it in favor of insurance co-ops. According to a Congressional Budget Office report, the Baucus bill would add $500 billion to the federal budget over the next 10 years. Another option that's on the table is health care security for Americans. The Baucus bill includes a provision that will require insurance companies to insure people with pre-existing conditions. And finally, another option being looked at is the Baucus bill would require Americans to purchase health care insurance. The Baucus bill would require Americans to purchase health care insurance. Finally, let's discuss some of the ways to pay for health care reform that's being discussed. First, the greatest source of revenue for the Baucus bill is a 35% tax on insurance companies that offer so-called Cadillac insurance plans. Cadillac insurance plans. Next, another source of revenue could be health care savings. That mainly amounts to Medicare, reducing the cost, the waste in Medicare. And when I looked at it, it was mainly about reducing the payout to institutions that provide services to Medicare patients. Another way that's being looked at to generate revenue for health care reform is a new consumer tax. Taxes on stuff like sugary drinks, soda, and tobacco. This is commonly referred to as a sin tax. And finally, one of the sources of revenues could be public option competition with private insurance. Public option competition with private insurance, according to a Commonwealth Fund report. Remember Karen Davis? According to that report, it could generate up anywhere from $1.5 to $3 trillion. That's a bit optimistic, according to me. But that's some of the ways that's being discussed to pay for health care reform. In summary, we are deeply divided about health care reform. The latest bill on the Senate floor, the Baucus bill, it increases the federal deficit, it taxes wealthy Americans, and it subsidizes an entity that is going to compete with private insurers. Republicans are unlikely to support the Baucus bill on principle. So we remain divided, although clear about why. And a late breaking thing, the public option on Tuesday died a second death in the Senate Finance Committee. 2 resolutions or amendments to the Baucus bill that would have inserted a public option into the Baucus bill was soundly defeated. Thank you for letting me help you make sense of the madness.